Hi there, Yo Soy Bimbo Bob here, and I was sitting around contemplating what to do, having been totally frustrated by dying twice in two hardcore worlds that I was running. Once by getting swept into a cave through a 1x1 hole and not being able to get it to swim out of it before I died, and the other by the random creeper just walking up behind you without you noticing and blowing up and killing you. So I decided, I have this ridiculously overpowered laptop. I wonder what the performance difference between a program running in a virtual machine versus a program running natively is. And so what I decided to do, as you see here, is run Cinebench in Windows 11 in a virtual machine and check out its performance versus Cinebench running natively under macOS. So here you see the results of running it in single CPU mode, 141 points, which is actually higher than the 10-core, 3 gigahertz Apple M1 Max. So let's see what happens when we run it natively. So here we are running natively, Cinebench on a Mac OS on my laptop. And it's Apple M4 Max, as you can see. The thing I want to point out is the video it's running in the background. It didn't give the same performance as the numbers I'm showing because basically I'm running like OBS and other stuff in the background to make these recordings and stuff like that. And so the performance was affected. But let's see what the performance was running natively. So as you see, the performance is 175. That is a 24% improvement over Cinebench running in the virtual machine, which is good because I don't know if you know anything about emulators, but for an emulator, if it's optimized properly, it should be about 50% of the performance of what its native CPU power is. So it's good to make sure that this emulation, this virtual machine is working better. But the other thing that you have to notice is the frequency on this processor is listed as being different than in the virtual machine one. The virtual machine one was 3.2 gigahertz, whereas this one is being listed as 3.9 gigahertz. And that is a 22% speed up. So I'm wondering why that is. Maybe this is running in parallels. Maybe parallels, scaled it down to what the performance they were getting. Who knows? I don't see anything that says that it's really not running at the full 3.9 gigahertz when it's running in the virtual machine. So why don't we move on to multiprocessors? Here we have Cinebench running in the virtual machine where it has 8 cores. And here is the performance, which is 1048, which isn't shabby. So let's flip on and over and see what Cinebench runs in native mode. So here we are in native mode, and the first thing that I did was I set up the number of cores to match the number of cores that I had available in the virtual machine, which I set to 8. Then based on this is the performance. And as you see, it's 1261, which is a 20% improvement over the 1048 that we saw running in the virtual machine. Now, this sort of got me to thinking that, I doubt very much that the processors are going to do their frequency acceleration and throttling differently, regardless of whether they're running in a virtual machine or not. And once a thing is sitting in memory and just executing, there really shouldn't be this big of a performance difference between a virtual machine and a program run natively. So if you all know, Apple Silicon actually has efficiency cores and performance cores, and I was wondering if the virtual machine was interfering with the ability of the OS to properly put the processes on the right cores. And so what I did is I brought up Cinebench again, and the other thing that I brought up was Activity Monitor. And if you open up this little window that shows the amount of processing power that's been done in each core, if you hold down the Option and the Shift key, when you hover over the core, it'll tell you what type of core it is. And so the first 4 cores are efficiency cores, and then the final 12 cores are performance cores, as can be seen by the text as I hover over them. And as we let this thing settle out, we see that most of the processes are being run on the performance cores, and probably these little things that are being done on the efficiency cores are associated with the fact that I'm making a video and I have OBS open and stuff like that. So this theory that the virtual machine was interfering is not true. But now I know what you guys are all thinking. And you're saying, well, yeah, we know the CPU performance for multi-core and single core, but what can the Mac do natively with the GPU? Now, the thing I'd like to point out before I show you the number is this is in fact a laptop, and laptops aren't known for their great cooling. And the Apple macOS is very aggressive in how it controls the clocks to control thermal issues. And so the final performance number that I'm going to show you probably does not show the full capabilities of the chip itself, just because that chip is sitting in a laptop. Nor is my work environment conducive to cooling the laptop. I don't do anything. I don't blow air on it. I don't have it sitting on something that keeps it cool. And so with all that in mind, here are the performance numbers that I got for using the GPU. 15,807 points, which isn't too bad when compared against these 4-year-old graphics cards and Apple processors. Yeah, I kind of want to kick Cinebench and say, why are you putting this 4-year-old stuff as your kind of default things you compare against? It's going to probably make everybody feel great. Maybe they got money from the industry to do that, but who knows? Anyway, this is Yo Soy Bimbo Bob saying, don't be like me, like and subscribe.